Today on TuffTrax, the grave digger proves that when the brakes go his way, he's unbeatable. Try telling that to the world champion, the Equalizer. And modified tractors roar through the Houston Astrodome. Again, everyone, I'm Scott Douglas, and welcome to TuffTrax. Today at Richmond International Raceway in Richmond, Virginia, one of the most highly regarded and most beautiful speedways that the NASCAR Winston Cup cars go to each year. They run 2 Winston Cup events here. Well, today it's power and speed of a different kind on TuffTrax as the TNT monster trucks come to town to race at Richmond International. Right now, Army Armstrong is standing by to get us ready for today's powerful action.
Well, thanks, Scott. We're back in Richmond, Virginia, where, as you well know, last year produced some of the most exciting action we've ever seen. We saw the Equalizer flip end over end on the end of the track. We saw 2 trucks running at the same time bounce physically out of the track. How do you bounce out of a track? It's very simple. This track is set up on the NASCAR pit road. There are walls on each side of the track. The walls that are a friend of the NASCAR pit crew, they're the enemy to the monster trucks. These walls are intimidating for these monster truck drivers. That's going to bring us up to date on the action from this week in Richmond, Virginia. But right now, I want to talk to you about the last time I had an opportunity to visit on television was a Louisville, Kentucky show. There was an incident that took place at Louisville concerning the kill box and Mike Wine. We're going to have Mike Wine himself tell you what happened in Louisville with that kill box.
Well, we had to go back out. We made it to the final rounds. We won all the way out there. It was me against Foot. It was against Andy. Got into the outside of the pit. We're getting ready, suiting up. They hand you a killer radio to go out, as you know, to kill the truck. I put a radio into position in the truck. It stalled. Took it back out, put another one in. It stalled. So they gave me one, said, just go out on the track. Just get out there. We'll worry about the radios when you get out there. So we got out there. Went out, sat up on the line, put the radio box in. When I did, all my gauges kept fluttering on me. They said, gotta go, start the race. 1, 2, 3, lined us up. Me and Andy took off. Ran the track all the way around. As you know, Louisville is a figure-8 course. You got an inside and outside lane. I was on the inside lane. That means I had to be in front of Andy before I got on the other end. If Van's going to catch me, you know he is. He's a strong runner. I was 3/4 of the way around the track. I looked over to my right-hand side. All my gauges went dead on me. The motor went dead. I grabbed the box. I kept physically shaking the box back and forth. And as I come up to the car, as I coasted, the motor backfired so many times until I ended up bending the valve. It was a very costly race. Not only first place, but it cost me a motor.
Also, what I'm hearing here is the fact that you feel that TNT is the one that cost you that race by having a malfunctioning box there.
Yeah, I feel it was TNT's fault for having a malfunctioning box. We're going to have to design, me and the owner, Nick Rossi, are going to design a box where when that box itself will sit into a box. So if it ever does come dislocated again or anything at all, it will at least be contained in that unit and keep it from falling off. The rivets actually came apart and fell off.
Okay, yeah, I looked at the box. I know it was damaged. Well, that's kind of an update of what we're going to be seeing tonight. We're going to bounce over to Chris Chapman to give you some more information about tonight's show.
Thanks, Army. Later on in the show, we're going to be going to the Houston Astrodome, where you're going to see the superstars of super modified tractor pulling. Some of those stars that you're going to be taking a look at are Tim Engler and Mission Impossible, Fred Freeman and the Mean Mistreater, and a new kid on the block, John Powell and the Powell Pulling Team. But first, let's take a look at the TNT Monster Truck Challenge points. It's getting really close as we head into the season. It's Bigfoot in the #1 position with 384 points, followed closely by the Equalizer at 375. And then it's King Krunch, Carolina Crusher, and rounding out the top 5, Awesome Kong. And the bottom half of the top 10 looks like this. It's USA 1, Grave Digger, Nightlife, Jersey Outlaw, and the Buffalo Trimmer.
Richmond International Raceway, ready to go with the superstars of monster truck racing. This is qualifying round action on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Now, we're going to look at some highlights from earlier qualifying, and Army Armstrong, here we go with the Auto Value sponsored King Crunch Special. Scott Stevens out of Woodlands, Texas, and Scott lays down a great shot here.
Well, this is the type of track that Scott really likes to run on. He told me, he was very upfront about it. He said, I do not like running a figure-8 or the turning courses like at Louisville. You get me to Richmond where I can really use the cubic inches, really leg the motor, and I'm going to show you how to run. Auto Value GMC comes out. Good run by Stevens. He doesn't back off. That was just a taste of some of the action to come. He was really comfortable with that run, Scott.
Lots of air, but still an outstanding time of 7.33 for Scott Stevens and the Auto Value King Krunch. And boy, you said it just a moment ago, Army. He came to Richmond to prove that he's taken this truck to the limit and to try and put it in victory lane.
Notice on the replay how close the walls are. Now, these walls will always play a story at Richmond. Let's keep that in mind later on in the evening.
Wildest run of the qualifying round. We're going to see it right now. Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher, up from Weiczorek, North Carolina. Keep your eyes on what happens to the Crusher.
Now, you got to remember, qualifying is important because if you get a quick qualifying time, you have lane choice. It's to your advantage to run hard in a qualifying session. Porter comes out, goes to the second jump, and look. Bam! Left side, both tires blow out on the left side. That is how hard he hit, Scott.
He did indeed. Flattened them both and ended up just short of that retaining wall, the inside pit wall for the NASCAR stock cars here at Richmond International. Let's watch it again and look at the air under the Carolina Crusher. And then when he comes down here, Army, it's all that weight on those two tires, and the sides of them, they just couldn't handle it.
Remember, the tires only hold about 4 to 8 pounds of air pressure.
We'll get a look at it coming right into your living room this time, and you'll really see how much weight is going to end up on those two tires on this last bounce.
You know, in monster truck racing, you not only have up and down, but you have what they call pitch and yaw. You normally only find that in aircraft terms.
Boy, there's a perfect example of what happens when you get all the weight on just a little bit of tire trying to hold it. Lots of work still to be done now before Crusher can go racing. Let's go to Chris Chapman, who's standing by with Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher.
Gary, pretty rough ride for qualifying. Is everything all right?
I think it will be. I went out and looked the course over before qualifying, and I adjusted the tire pressure where I thought it, should have been, and I guess my guess was wrong. I dropped my air pressure a little bit, so I'm going to have to put some more in it, so maybe I won't knock the tires off the rims again.
Did it just take those two tires? Is that the only problems you had?
Yes, I don't think it busted them. It just knocked them off the rim, broke the bead loose and bent a few shocks, and I think that's it.
We'll let you get back to work.
Okay, thank you.
Here's the way they'll pair up in the first round. Right off the bat, the rivalry renews. King Krunch against Bigfoot. Then Thunder Chicken out against Equalizer. The Crusher will have to face the Outlaw, who's been strong as of late. The Nightlife Truck with Dave Weiczorek will battle Steve Wilke in USA 1. And Gravedigger out against the Wild Hair Chevrolet of starving Marvin Smith as we get ready to go at it in Richmond, Virginia at the Richmond International Raceway. TuffTrax is brought to you by Nintendo, makers of the Nintendo Entertainment System and the world's largest and most exciting library of great games. Nintendo, now you're playing with power. And by the National Dairy Board, about the best thing you could drink right now to do your body good is a tall, cold glass of milk. Grow for it. Scott Douglas, Army Armstrong, and Chris Chapman welcome you back to beautiful Richmond International Raceway as we get ready for first round side-by-side racing on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. There's the rookie who has taken over the reins of the World Championship truck. It's Greg Holbrook driving the Equalizer Chevrolet from Springfield, Tennessee. He'll take on Kid Rarick, the Thunder Chicken from Catawissa, Pennsylvania.
You know, it's kind of interesting. Rarick has been around for years and years. This kid comes out to the driver's seat of the Equalizer and will not be intimidated. Immediately starts attacking the track. But look at Thunder Chicken coming back. No. Boy, the kid just barely held on for that one, Scott.
Don't know. Let's get a look at the replay. Don't know if there was a problem on the Equalizer or if maybe Holbrook kind of just thought he had it won or if Chicken was just coming. But look how close he makes it. Right at the end, it was down to a matter of a couple of feet. So we'll get a look this way. We'll not get as good an angle on what happens at the finish line, but you can see here, the Equalizer kind of got a little squirrely. Might have cost him some momentum, Army.
Yeah, the bounce catches these trucks. Look at them. They both go towards each other in the middle of the track. Let's check with Chris Chapman. She's got Holbrook right now.
Congratulations, Greg. A very close race between you and Thunder Chicken.
Yeah, it was real close, and we both started sliding to the inside. And I thought I was going to get tangled up, so I just cut back off to the left, try to keep him getting tangled up.
How's that track feeling?
It's wild. It's just shooting you right straight up in the air if you're on it. If you just get up on the cars first and then get on it, you can do a lot better, faster time.
The biggest rivalry in TNT Monster Truck Racing today. Scott Stevens, the Auto Value King Krunch, against anybody in a Bigfoot truck. This time it's John Piant in Bigfoot number 4.
Well, Scott, the battle of the Blues Brothers in 1990 comes to Richmond, Virginia. Let's see what's going to happen. The bounce
on the inside retaining wall at Richmond International Raceway. The win to Bigfoot and John Piant. The question is, how damaged is our fast qualifier, Scott Stevens in the Auto Value King Krunch?
He's done sitting up in there, Scott.
Let's watch it again, Army, and I think we'll get a real good look here at what happened to Scott Stevens.
Basically, all that happened was the bounce. Watch his suspension. He just bounced. He was flying through there. There was not a thing he could do right here. He's at the mercy of gravity and hooked him and pulled him. Meanwhile, Piant did his job perfectly.
We'll get a look coming right at us this time as Bigfoot gets a good, nice, straight shot. And you can see off the first bounce, Krunch is in trouble. And the Auto Value Special is going to have to go to the store for some parts because I guarantee he tore up a few on that hand. Wow, Scott Stevens in a lot of trouble. And luckily he didn't go over the wall and make things a lot worse on that truck.
On a run like that, John, you know, what do you do? Did you have any idea he was in trouble?
No, I didn't. I was concentrating on keeping my truck in a straight line. I really didn't even know where he was at.
How big a problem is that tonight? You guys seem to be taking some awfully strange bounces out there.
Yeah, I think the walls being in so close was really scaring everybody, and they were concentrating very hard into staying in a straight line. And I don't know, some of the cars are kind of a little funny, and you're getting a lot of bad bounces out there.
Let's talk about those walls. They're close. Are you guys overcompensating? Is that what keeps making you go to the middle? Because the left lane's going to the right lane's going to the left. The only difference is the walls are on the outside of this track.
Yeah, I think I definitely favor another truck inside of the wall. I think everyone is kind of going towards the inside.
Thanks, Army and John Piant. A matchup between King Krunch and Bigfoot 4 that ends up with a truck in the wall. It's a cinch to make the Krunch of the week. Here we go.
Hold on to your seats for the amazing Krunch of the Week, brought to you by Micro Machines, the #1 colossally collectible vehicles in the world. If it doesn't say Micro Machines, it's not the real thing.
Once again on the Krunch of the Week, it's Scott Stevens. On the right of your screen, the Auto Value King Krunch Special, Out of Control and onto the wall.
Well, now, Scott Stevens and his mechanic have been experimenting with a new chassis. It's real springy, and this shows you right here. They don't have a handle on it as of yet.
Scott Stevens really could have got himself in a lot worse shape. Of course, if the wall wasn't there, I'm sure he's saying he could have straightened it out. The wall's a factor at Richmond, and Scott Stevens finds out the hard way on the Krunch of the Week. King Krunch being towed off the Auto Value Special. Stick a fork in him. He's done for the night. Let's get the thoughts of the driver, Scott Stevens. He's standing by right now with Chris Chapman.
Some awful bad luck out there for you against Bigfoot.
Yeah, it was, what, 2 weeks in a row. I guess, you know, had too good of a year going, you know. We know bad luck will get you every once in a while. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little worse than it was. At least the truck, the back drive shaft braking kept it from maybe going over.
Do you think it's something just whenever you come to the line and you know Bigfoot's over there, it's a really big rivalry between the two of you? Do your nerves get bad?
Tonight I felt real confident. You know, we had him covered. We were running a second quicker. And I probably underestimated on the line a little bit and laid down because I knew we could outrun him. And when he was there at the finish line, you know, I just made a driver error, and it's going to cost us a lot more points.
Thanks, Chris. We saw Carolina Crusher damaged in qualifying, and while he struggles in the pits to make the first round, his opponent's also hustling to get to the starting line. When we return, Outlaws under the gun. Back on TuffTrax at Richmond International Raceway, and the superstars of monster truck racing battling on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Side by side now, the big Ford of the Outlaw-Mike Wine from Pensyl, New Jersey, takes on that Chevrolet known as the Carolina Crusher, Gary Porter from Wadesboro, North Carolina. As they're getting ready, Chris Chapman got a few moments ago to talk with Mike Wine of the Outlaw about some problems he was having in qualifying. Let's look back at that interview right now.
It broke the front U-joint and the front housing for the front U-joint, so I'll come back. I'm coming back in two-wheel drive, but I'll be back.
Army two-wheel drive, explain what that'll do to the Outlaw.
What it'll do, it makes it a lot more dangerous. I'm going to be real up front with you. If he gets in trouble, he didn't have the front wheels to pull him out. Gary Porter knows that, pushes him to the limit on the starting line. But look at the Outlaw. He's not rolling over. He made him earn it. What it is, the two-wheel drive, if you don't have the front wheels to get you out of trouble, that is spooky. And with the walls the way they are tonight, that could have been disastrous.
Indeed, you can see how bad of a start Outlaw got because of those problems, and Crusher took full advantage. Gary Porter got it going right from the beginning, and pulls out the victory by about a length over the Outlaw, who tried to charge at the end. Here comes Dave Weizorek's Nightlife Chevrolet out of Grand Island, Nebraska. He takes on the USA 1 truck. Steve Wilke driving for Everett Jasmer's True Value crew out of Ham Lake, Minnesota.
Yeah, exactly opposite ends of the spectrum here. On the right, the big buck sponsorship, the corporate involvement. On the left, the privateer, the guy that has to build the truck himself, work on himself, travel by himself. Who's going to win? We're going to find out right now. Only in America you're going to be able to see these guys go head to head. Weiczorek kind of easy over the first set. Now he's going to try to come back on USA 1. God, I believe he did it. What do you think?
Flying out. It looked like fire or sparks or something from underneath the USA 1. He died right there on the cars, and Nightlife and Dave Weizorik gets the victory. Here on the replay, look underneath USA 1 as he heads for the second set, and you'll see something from underneath. Also notice that Weizorik really hammered it on the second set of cars. It looked like he took it easy on the first set and hit it hard for the second set. So while USA 1 tries to get off the cars, Army has worked his way over to Dave Weizorik of Nightlife.
Is this a classic example? Nobody's going to know I'm going to ask you this. Is this a classic example where you want to go back and steal horsepower from your motor? You don't want that big motor tonight?
That's right. That's right. You definitely want to slow down. If you can take off slow out of the hole and come over them cars nice and smooth and be straight for that second set, then you can air it out on that second set. But if you're out of shape before you get to it, it's all over with.
There he is, the grave digger from Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. Certainly the most popular monster truck in the world, but Army Armstrong this year, not necessarily the most successful. He has struggled and struggled badly on our most recent program.
You know, in the interview I did do with Weitzorek, he mentioned the word air out the truck. The grave digger airs his out just coming out of the trailer. That guy just goes hard all the time. This could literally be a very wild run. You don't know what to look out for with Anderson. You got to remember, the engine and the grave digger's to the rear of the truck. The engine and the Wild Hair is to the front. So you've got two different theories about what's going to work. And neither truck is known for going real straight. This could be a rocket ride for somebody right here.
Coming over the grave digger with an early shot, squirrely, but straightens up and gets a convincing victory over Starvin' Marvin Smith. The Wild Hair way off course as Marvin Smith finally, it would be DQ'd officially, but it didn't matter because Gravedigger had put him away. Army, we're going to take a look at it one more time. I guess what you were saying earlier is Gravedigger needs to kind of make sure his equipment stays longer than one round.
That's exactly right, Scott. He's got to stay alive to go to the winner's circle.
Army, it's a situation where maybe Dennis just needs to be a little smarter, a little easier on that equipment. Army's going to talk to Dennis Anderson right now about that run.
Dennis, an awfully wild run. You're notorious for making those wild, wild shots. This seems like it would not be the track for you, but you look like you're just at home out there.
Well, really, I'm not running the truck hard at all. You know, I'm coming off the line in second and I slip it right in drive, and I just got I'm pushing the throttle down about a little over a half inch. I'm just holding it right there and trying to ride the course out. It's a pretty rough track, you know. We haven't even powered into it yet, and if I can make it last to the finals, if that's what it takes, then I'll do it in the finals.
Let me ask you a question. This is the first time I've had a chance to ask you this question this year because it's going into the second round and you're still involved in this thing. Are we looking at a new Dennis Anderson? We thinking a little bit before we go to the line? Because it doesn't look like you got it on full kill.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking a little bit, you know, but on this course here, it looks like everybody's running pretty easy. I looked at the qualifying times, I know how long this course is, and I thought it was some pretty slow times, you know, so all I want to do is try to stay ahead of the next guy.
That completes the first round on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Coming up next, the Mean Mistreater prepares to tug the heavy sled in Houston, Texas. Welcome back to TuffTrax in the TNT All-American Pulling Series from the 8th wonder of the world, the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. And we're ready to see superstar pullers in action as they'll take the big tractors down this long indoor track. And it's about as long as it gets indoors, Army Armstrong. And Fred Freeman's going to have to really have some horsepower going for the Mean Mistreater.
Length of the track in the dome is 275 feet. Fred Freeman, the trademark, you follow the sport, you know to watch his right hand. He relies on the Chevrolet engine for horsepower. You got to remember these vehicles weigh 7,200 pounds. Where the weight is, that's up to the driver. Freeman comes down. Look at this. He takes the brake just a little bit. Chevrolet's making some awesome horsepower in the dome.
Out of Fred Freeman and the mean mistreater out of Wadesville, Indiana. So the test pull is a full pull, but I think they like the weight, and they're going to go with it, Army. So we'll get a good look here on the replay at just an awesome run by Fred Freeman.
Now, Freeman had the Chevrolet horsepower hooked to the Astrodome track. You know, no reason to change anything. That is what the sport is all about right there.
The Irish Challenger has been on a roll in 1990. We've seen him have some great runs already this year, and Dave Walsh would love another one here in the Dome.
Dave Walsh was notorious for wheel speed. We talked about Freeman running a Chevrolet engine combination a moment ago. Everybody's familiar with Chevrolet. What you're not familiar with is an engine called an Arias engine. About $35,000 a pop. It's a hybrid engine. That's exactly what Walsh runs. Let's see what he's going to do with it. Oh, the front end's up. He's putting it to the ground. No, look at the ground speed, Scott.
The Irish Challenger is going to come up just a hair short at 273.74.
On a 275 track.
Dave Walsh has to be a little disgusted and very unhappy in the Astrodome. Well, coming up next, we're going to get a look at Tim Engler, the defending national champion, Mission Impossible, about ready. This is the last indoor pull before they go outside, and Engler begins defense of that national championship. So some experimentation going on with a brand new tire tread design. Lots of cleats, and Chris Chapman talked to him.
Sam, do you think this new type of tread design on your tire is going to work on this track?
Well, I'm really worried about it. I don't think it will. I think the track's too soft because slower tire speed tractors are doing the best. They're staying up on top. I'm going to have to be extremely careful and drive it really easy off the line to try to keep it up on top of the track without sinking.
So will a weight adjustment help you out, do you think?
Well, we're trying to weight the front end a little bit heavy so we can drive it a little bit farther off the line before we give it to throttle. So we're just going to have to wait and see and hope for the best.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, Scott, remember a moment ago we saw Freeman run. His front end came up. Engler just told us he's going to put a lot of weight on the nose to hold the front end down. That's exactly what he did. 7,200 pounds in intensity, big time on the end of the track. One of the big boys is going on the trailer in the Dome.
Boy, and you really called it, Army. It just never got there. He talked about it being soft, and boy, we can see how soft it was with that new tread design. Lots of problems. John Powell is getting ready, but Army Armstrong's going to go over and talk to Tim Engler, who dug some mighty big holes in the Astrodome track. Army, get a shovel and help him out over there.
One of the leaders in innovation in truck and tractor pulling is Tim Engler out of Princeton, Indiana. Now, Tim, you did something I've seen nobody do before. I know you weren't satisfied with the run, and you went back and looked at the holes that you dug. Why'd you do that?
Well, we got a new tread design on the tires that we're trying on our tractor, and we knew from watching Fred run quite a few of the other guys, the high tire speed was not the answer, and we really tried to lead it off the line to keep the tractor up on top of the track, and it didn't really work too bad until about half track, and the tractor wanted to pull over in a set of ruts. Then it was kind of too late. You just had to ride it out.
From Apex, North Carolina, here's John Powell, and Powell pulling, trying to force Fred Freeman into a pull-off.
Freeman made a full pull with the Chevrolet horsepower. Powell comes on the Chrysler, makes a full pull, too. We're going to have a pull-off in the Dome, Scott.
Boy, Powell didn't even let it get any suspense build up. He just hammered that bad boy right out the back door. Wow. Great pull for the North Carolina puller, John Powell, and Powell pulling. Well, we know we're going to have a pull-off. We'll find out if anyone else will join John Powell and Fred Freeman to win certainly one of the most prestigious, if not the most prestigious, indoor pulls of all, the Houston Astrodome Super Nationals. Here's Mike Piper bringing Just Add Dirt out of Mount Vernon, Illinois.
Scott, if there's a story here, it might be the story of the little guy. Powell runs a Chrysler Hemi engine. Normally, it came up through drag racing. Freeman made a full pull with the Chevrolet engines. The high-dollar engines are not cutting the ticket tonight. Maybe Engler told us the story when he talked about tire speed. These guys could actually have too much horsepower.
He's looking good. Mike Piper will go out.
Blew by there right there, but wow, he was mile an hour.
No problem for Just Add Dirt and Mike Piper. Second in TNT national points to Tim Engler a year ago. And he looks like he's ready to carry a bunch of momentum outdoors. Army, this is just an awesome pull.
His chassis was set almost like the Chevrolet and the Chrysler, a little bit lighter than nose. But I'm amazed at how easy he seemed to bang it out past the 275.
You said something about the big boys. Well, here's one of the biggest of the big. Dave Banner, the Banner Brothers Fox.
Banner boys are back in town. That's what the fans are waiting to see. The notorious Banners out of Indiana coming up. A little bit of chassis flex to the right. Relies on Chevrolet for horsepower.
the Fox. So we'll have 4 coming up in the pull-off a little bit later here on TuffTrax as the Banner brothers joining the Mean Mistreater, Just Add Dirt, and Powell Pulling. When we come back, the monster trucks on the TNT Monster Challenge will be going to the quarterfinal round. Here's how they'll match up. Bigfoot number 4 comes back against his closest rival in the points, the Equalizer. We'll see the Carolina Crusher take on Marvin Smith's Wild Hair. And in the bottom half of the bracket, Dave Weiczork's Nightlife meets the Outlaw Ford. And then Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger comes back to take on the fastest loser, the Thunder Chicken. It's all coming up next here on TuffTrax. TuffTrax, where the superstars of monster truck racing battle for the world championship on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. And these are the 2 at the top of the points list, and they're meeting early, Army Armstrong, a crucial battle between the point leader Bigfoot and the runner-up, the defending world champion Equalizer.
These drivers are at the top of the points, 1 and 2. They're also the drivers with the least experience. John Piant will be driving Bob Chandler's Bigfoot, second generation. He'll be going against Holbrook, driving Gary Cook, second generation driver. There's no such thing as an old monster truck driver. Only you is going to survive this sport.
Good start for Bigfoot. A little trouble for Piant, and give it to the Equalizer. He pulls it out at the end. Greg Holbrook with the victory. Let's look at it again. And Bigfoot got him out of the hole, Army, but got in trouble.
Bigfoot drilled him big time on the start line, but right there when the rear end settled, cocked around on him, and look at Holbrook flying straight through on the far side. Holbrook was looking at the end of the track from the start. I believe Piant was thinking about each jumping separately, and it just didn't work.
That told the story. You can see him coming right at you. Holbrook was straight as an arrow. He's with Army Armstrong.
Greg, you're coming after. You're the guy to beat tonight. How's it feel?
It feels good, Army. You just got to get everything lined up perfect, and you can hit them wide open just like any other track.
You just helped your national points championship chase a whole bunch by putting that other blue truck out.
You're not kidding. Don't nobody get to come back in the semifinals. No fast loser.
Battle of the Blues Brothers, and you won it tonight.
Thank you, Army.
Greg Holbrook knowing how important that victory was, and you could tell. Hey, I'm going to tell you, that young man may be soft-spoken, but that was a big win, and he's fired up about it.
You know, he's really coming around. If we used to have trouble getting him to talk to us, now he's giving you the #1 finger sign, so let's find out what this kid can do. Let's go back to the starting line. Scott, who's coming up next?
It'll be Wild Hair. Now, earlier, we said Wild Hair was disqualified, but actually he backed up and completed a legal run. They allowed him to complete the run under legal circumstances. He comes back as one of the fast losers against Carolina Crusher.
Well, when you buy a ticket to a TNT event, these people want you to see side-by-side monster truck racing. They're going to do everything they can to bring that to you. Well, looky here, both of those guys are having all kinds of problems.
Wait a minute, fellas. We were on the figure 8 course last week.
Exactly. My sentiments exactly.
Wow. Wild Hair again ended up in the other lane, and then Crusher came over. Watch him, and watch especially the end of the runs. Crusher wins it easily, no doubt.
Yeah, but Scott, remember, we keep talking about the walls. You can see it now. They're trying to get away from the walls, both of them.
Let's find out what happened to Marvin Smith. Here's Chris Chapman.
Golly.
Smiling Marvin Smith, close but no cigar.
I'm telling you, I'm happy, though. At least we got her running again. This thing's been down in the dumps for a long time. It's about time for it to come back, I think. We just rebuilt the whole truck after Dallas. It's almost a whole new truck. New motor, new everything. Hopefully we can get used to it and get her straightened out and start doing good again.
Ford and Chevrolet fixing to get it on. It's the Outlaw Ford from New Jersey and Mike Wine. And from the Plains, out of Nebraska, Grand Island, Nebraska, the Chevrolet of Dave Weiczorek, known as the Nightlife.
Weiczorek, the privateer we were talking about earlier, representing the Chevrolet camp, goes against the Ford. And again, the two-wheel drive is really going to hurt the Outlaw. Weiczorek is not backing a bit, though. The Outlaw stays after him. Chevrolet goes to that next round.
Weiczorek knew he really couldn't let it go because Outlaw would come on the second half. And so Weiczorek hammered it on the second set of cars, hammered it hard enough to get the victory.
Well, it's like any race, the finish line is at the end. You got to drive out the back door. That's exactly what he did. He passes through the finish line light. Chevrolet, like we say, he'll be back.
The Nightlife Chevrolet getting the victory one more time. They'll come right into your lap. And on your left, it's Dave Weizorek's winner, the Nightlife.
You know, one thing that amazes me is that the Outlaw Ford driver, he was attacking the track. It didn't bother him a bit being in two-wheel drive over.
Mike Wine always in attack. Here's another guy who's always got it on attack. Dennis Anderson, the grave digger, to take on Kid Rarig's Thunder Chicken.
When Dennis Anderson pulled onto the track, you could feel the electricity go through the crowd. These people in Richmond, Virginia, they want to see one of the patented bonsai grave digger runs. The red lights tell you it's 100%. Look out.
Watching for it to go green in the middle. There it is. We're underway. Both of them taking it easy off the starting line.
Here we go.
Grave digger Dennis Anderson pulls it out with a big win over the Thunder Chicken, and the equipment looks okay.
Scott, can you feel the electricity? He's got this crowd pumped up.
And I'll tell you, he's got us pumped up because he's going to make it to the semifinal round. The equipment is holding up, and the grave digger is going full tilt. Here's Army and Dennis.
Dennis, is going to be short and sweet. These guys have been laughing at you all year long, saying you lost the handle on it. I don't believe that's the case tonight.
No, well, that's what I'm trying to do is I'm saving the truck. I did push a little bit harder that time because, kid there with Thunder Chicken, he just loves to bury me if he can, you know, so we've always had a little grudge going from 3 years back, so I don't want him to get an edge on me.
What about the next round? One observation I made, everybody that won this round came out of the right lane. Now, y'all can't do that next time. Somebody's going to have to go someplace different. Will that affect your driving style?
Well, it could, but, you know, I'm just going to give it the best shot in the left lane. I feel like the right lane is the best lane to shoot out of, but if not, I don't think it's going to be that much difference.
That completes the quarterfinals. When we come back, 4 modified tractors go at it in the pull-off with a heavier sled. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Back under the Houston Astrodome with the TNT All-American Pulling Series as the Super Nationals for the big tractors is coming down to the final 4. 4 in the pull-off. First up, Fred Freeman's Mean Mistreater and Army. A lot of work getting ready for the pull-off on the fuel mixture here.
Yeah, the drivers have gone outside. They look at an air density meter. You got to remember, we're about an hour away from Galveston Bay. That is sea level. If an engine's ever going to make horsepower, it'll make it in the Houston Astrodome tonight.
The Mean Mistreater, the first in the pull-off. He'll set the standard they'll have to go after. Now, the sled is much heavier, and obviously he didn't get it out.
You re-pull in the order you full pull. Okay, a 2:11.22, that's what they got to go after right now.
That's the distance to beat, laid down by Freddie Freeman and the Mean Mistreater out of Wadesville, Indiana. And boy, that sled really pulled him down quick.
You can see the weight box coming up on the back of the sled. When it gets over center, boom, it's just a muscle game.
We're going to get a look now at John Powell and the Powell pulling truck. Well, right now we're going to get a look, actually.
That's Dave Banner and his crew. They're trying to figure it out. Now, they run Chevrolet, too, just like Freeman. I guarantee you they're going to know what to do by watching Freeman run. We go back to the starting line. It looks like a Chrysler is coming out now, Scott.
It'll be Powell pulling, as we were mentioning, and let's see if he can get it past Fred Freeman's 2:11. That's being the distance to beat.
You can tell the heat coming out of the bottom of the engine. 3 Chrysler Hemi engines. He's got a blubber 2 blowing low. He's going to back engine come around. No problem. That'll stop him. 2:11.22 is what he's trying to go on the other side of, Scott.
Oh, he beat it by a bunch. That white line he went past was the line the TNT officials had marked at Freeman's distance, and Powell went way past it at 2:50 and change as John Powell gets an outstanding pull in that tractor known as Powell pulling from Apex, North Carolina. So now his distance of 2:50 is the one that they're going to try and beat with 2 more to go. Army is standing by right now with John Powell, your new leader.
Hey, all you folks back in North Carolina, you got to be pulling for this guy. He's pulling for you guys like crazy. That was a perfect run.
I don't know how I made 2 in a row, but I did, Army. We was tickled with that run, too.
The tractor handle right, the weight look right, they're making horsepower, this buku horsepower. Do you think the humidity in the air may have something, you know, that'll give you a little bit of an edge over some of these guys?
Well, I think the humidity here close to the coast has got a lot to play with it. We'd made some fuel adjustments before we ran, and it seemed like they worked real good.
The word from John Powell, who now sits atop the leaderboard in the Houston Astrodome. 2 more will take a shot at him, and they are 2 big guns. First up, Mike Piper and Just Add Dirt.
Mike Piper runs the hybrid engine we told you about, $35,000 a pop. Trying to go on the other side at 250 and change. Let's see if he can do it.
He's got to get past the white line at the end of the track. He got past it, but he did not pull the sled past it.
From the sled, that's where the payoff is. The front of the sled's got to pass the white line. Not to be the case right now.
6 feet short. You saw it, 244 for Mike Piper and just at dirt. One more will have a shot at that man, John Powell, as he tries to get a big supernational win in the Houston Astrodome. But Powell knows the guy coming after him has won a whole bunch of the biggest poles of all. Then I'm talking about Dave Banner, the Banner brothers, and the Fox.
One thing about Banner, he pulled last in the pull-off. He has more heat in his engine. You can see all the heat coming out of the bottom of the engine. That could hurt him. It did hurt him. John Powell's going to win. The big win goes back to North Carolina.
Indeed, the Banner brothers never got it going in the pull-off, and here's the way they'll end up in the dome. Powell pulling and John Powell, Mike Piper second, Fred Freeman third, Dave Banner fourth, and Dave Walsh ended up in the number 5 spot in the Houston Astrodome Super Nationals. When we come back, the Digger's not dead yet. It's the Final Four in Richmond. Stay with us. TuffTrax, where the Gravedigger is still alive, trying to get a much-needed victory on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Here's the way the Final Four stacks up. Equalizer, after dispatching Bigfoot, will now take on Carolina Crusher, trying to really get the points lead back. And in the bottom half of the bracket, the Gravedigger still alive. He'll take on the Nightlife Chevrolet of Dave Weiczorek. 4 of the top 5 in points from 1 year ago in the World Championship standings are in our Final Four here.
God, that just tells you how tough this TNT World Championship Series is. These guys are definitely going just for the jugular veins. They want to be the best monster truck in the world. The guy that can come out of here ahead is on the right side of your screen, but the guy's got to get past the All-Pro. Look for Porter to drill this kid on the starting line. Blue truck's been a little bit late on the start, trying to pull it back on the end. Porter knows it. He's got to hammer him hard right on the start when the lights go green.
Here they come. Showtime.
Holbrook leads pretty close to him, trying to pull it back on the other end. You call it, Scott.
It looked like Equalizer at the end, but we want to check the replay. It did look like Equalizer got him at the end. Let's watch it from this angle, Army. Here comes Crusher and Porter, looking in good shape, but you can see consistently Equalizer held about a wheel length victory. So Greg Holbrook in the Equalizer Chevrolet, he's been keeping it straight, and he's taking it straight to the Monster Smash Final.
Well, we're standing with a little nervous driver right here, a nervous little driver. Let me get that down, Pat. Trying to get the helmet squared away. Son, you're going to the final, you did it the hard way. You're coming out of that left lane. Is that where you want to be?
Yeah, that's the lane I chose. Everybody, at first, it was just throwing you into the wall. If you hit them just right, it just launches you. Perfect.
You and Gary ran awfully hard. At first, it seemed like you guys were intimidated. The wall may have scared you, but now it's like, hey, we're back to just straight open racing. Is that where we are now?
Yeah, you just got to ignore it and go on. If you don't, you'll just be on a trailer.
He's not on the trailer yet. Greg Holbrook will be back in the Monster Smash Final. Also not on the trailer yet, the Gravedigger, Dennis Anderson. He gets ready to go up against Nightlife, and today the equipment is holding up. But earlier, Army Armstrong talked with Dennis Anderson about progress on his new truck.
Hey, Dennis, this is your time of the year, really. You get outside, you get to really leg that big motor, but where's all the emphasis going to be? You going to try to put time into this truck, or are you going for the new truck?
Well, really, I've got to do both. It's hard trying to keep this truck together. The truck is so heavy, really, and the suspension's not really soft enough on it. The new truck is 4-link, and it takes a lot more work and time involved in the new truck, but it's just hard. It's hard to do it, trying to run this truck and get the new one going, too. So we're just going to keep battling at it, and hopefully in 8 weeks, the new truck will be ready for some testing.
You said just a moment ago in the conversation with me, it almost sounded like you were going to concede and be happy to get in the top 5. This time last year, you were hunting and pecking and clawing your way trying to get into the number 1 spot. Are we looking at a milder Dennis this year? Are you going to settle for the top 5? Is the kill not there to go over for number 1?
I don't know. It's kind of there. I stand here and say that I'm going to take it easy on the truck and everything, but once I get up there and I know somebody's going to run hard, it's always a different story when the light turns green.
The light's about to turn green as Anderson on the left of your screen battles Nightlife. Problems for Weiczorek, and it's all Gravedigger.
Gravedigger made it look smooth. This final we've got coming up, Scott, to be one of the best races of the year. The kid's going after the red light bandit in the final.
And Equalizer has loved the right lane as they come toward us. Anderson has loved the left lane as they come toward us. and they'll each get the lane they want in the Monster Smash Final. Look at Weiczorik's problems right off the bat.
Now he had some chassis bounce, but Anderson, it amazes me how smooth. Look at bounce, it stays level, settles down for him. If he can lay a run down like that, he can win this thing. But like we say, the kid from the volunteer stage is going to try to nail it.
You're right. He's got to dethrone the world champion to get the win. When we come back, Equalizer and Gravedigger in the Monster Smash Final. Back in Richmond, Virginia, we're down to the Monster Smash Final. The two survivors of the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. It's the Gravedigger against the world champion Equalizer.
Cinderella story. Listen to the crowd.
They're going bonkers as he donuts it at the end. But not only did he win, he did an awesome piece of driving to keep the Gravedigger on all four wheels. Army Armstrong, I thought he was on his lid.
You know, replays coming back up on the screen. I'm just amazed at how the crowd, it's like a home court advantage in a basketball stadium. These people love Dennis Anderson. Half track, it was close, but when he pulled the trigger on that big mountain motor Chevrolet, he literally flew past the kid. But this is where the driving comes in. Smash the motor, power out. What a job.
We'll watch it again. Dennis Anderson had gone easy on equipment all night. But on this last set of cars, he said, this has been too rough a year. I am winning this race. And indeed he did by a nose over the Equalizer. Your winner, Dennis Anderson, the Gravedigger, and he's with Army Armstrong.
Well, you talk about a Cinderella story. It took place in Richmond, Virginia tonight. Dennis Anderson, bad luck. Maybe it's over. But when you turn around to good luck, wow, you couldn't have handpicked a better place.
Yeah, you know, Army, I've had pretty good luck the last 2 years out here. And I just try to keep my cool here. You know, I got a lot of Mudbog fans, guys that's known me from Mudbogging years ago, and my hometown, mom, dad, my wife and kids, everybody in the stands, and they really want me to win, you know, and I want to win too. But, you know, we pulled it off and made it to the finals, and I really couldn't do it without Cryower cams, TCI torque converters, Creative Glass for fiberglass body parts, and M30 hand cleaner.
You know, it's really amazing. It takes a lot of people to make these teams work, and believe me, a bunch of people are on your team tonight. Congratulations, Dennis. A well-deserved win.
All right, thanks a lot, Army.
It's been a while, and you know it's got to feel good. The Gravedigger back on top as he wins it in Richmond. And look who's back on top of the World Championship points chase. The Equalizer by 1 point over Bigfoot. Krunch is solid third. Crusher is fourth. Awesome Kong still in the top 5 at the 5th position. Then USA 1 is 6th. The on-rushing Gravedigger, he closes the gap in 7th. Nightlife is 8th. Outlaw and Buffalo Tremor round out the top 10. But the story in Richmond, Virginia, kind of a homecoming. He's got a lot of roots in this area, and he's back on top. Dennis Anderson puts the Gravedigger home a winner at Richmond International Raceway. Can we top this? We'll find out next week right here on TuffTrax. For Chris and Army, I'm Scott Douglas, and we'll look for you next week.